Goku can use Hakai, and we need to leave this notion and misconception that he can't in 2023. Today I'm going to be debunking every main point that people like to bring up to argue that Goku can't use Hakai. The first argument a lot of people like to bring up is from this page right here. Goku says, Lord Beerus' signature move, huh? I kind of messed up the first time I tried copying it. They take this statement so literal that it becomes straight stupidity. There are multiple ways to interpret this statement. I'm about to prove why my interpretation of this statement makes more sense continuatively wise. I'll put the statement that Goku said in that chapter into ChatGPT. And here's the results that it gave me. And here's another result that it gave me as well. Then after getting those two results, I put in, does it still imply he did it in some way? ChatGPT literally says yes. It just means he didn't do it perfectly. A lot of the reasons why he couldn't do it perfectly is because it was his first time doing it, and he was very fatigued. He had to put all his power and energy into his hand to be able to do it, which, as you can see right here. Here's the English version of that panel for people who want to see it. Here's another argument I'd like to bring up, which is the backflip argument. I put into ChatGPT, if I messed up in the landing of a backflip, doesn't mean I still did the backflip. ChatGPT literally says yes, because the fact that you did the maneuver means you still did the backflip. You just didn't do it perfectly because you didn't stick the landing. So let's just do some quick math, alright? The maneuver of the backflip equals the application of Hakai that Goku was putting on Zamasu. And not sticking the landing of the backflip equals Goku not being able to fully control it, because again, it was his first time doing it and he was very fatigued. And also the my intervention, leading to an imperfect Hakai. And also, to further prove my interpretation of this, I asked two of my college English professors about this statement. They both said that my interpretation of it is correct. So if you're going to go against two English college professors, I have nothing to say to you. The next point people like to bring up is that Mai wasn't a considerable factor on why the Hakai did not work. Let's go look what the manga says. Zamasu literally said, it's a shame that a god who stands at the apex of all creation should win in such a shameful way. And he says this after he grabs Mai, preventing Goku from Hakaiing him. Meaning he knew he was going to lose if he didn't do that. Y'all always say y'all don't read the manga, but refuse to acknowledge this point. So tell me who really reads the manga. For the next point, I gotta go on my PC. The next argument people like to bring up comes from this panel. They're trying to say, based off of what Beerus said, there's only one version of Hakai. Because he says, when we gods use our destruction move, its target is completely erased from existence. This is a mistranslation. Let's go to the Japanese manga panel and translate. Okay, here's the Japanese manga panel, as you can see. Here's the actual translation. You know, the destruction we use is about erasing existence from this world. When reducing something to zero, the object releases an incredible amount of energy when it disappears. Here's a translation for Romaji Dasu. And it says the same exact thing. Also, Hakai isn't a move. It's only been stated in reference as a technique. For reference, here's the kanji for technique, waza. As you can see, the kanji is present right here. Here's the translation. Here's the kanji again with the translation. There's a lot more, but I don't have the rest of the Japanese manga panels. But you get the gist. Also, if there's only one version of Hakai, and this are the only versions of it, that means this isn't Hakai, and this isn't Hakai going by that logic. It just doesn't make sense. And also, they'd be so scared to use the colored versions of the panel, because they even illustrated that Goku was using Hakai. Because look how Beerus uses Hakai, look at Goku using it. It looks exactly the same. Even Belmont, another god of destruction, uses this. He referenced this as destroying. And Goku even says Hakai in this panel. Beerus says the same exact thing as well. The crazy thing is, to back up their statement that Goku can't use Hakai, they're going to double down and say, well, Dragon Ball characters don't always say their moves when they say it. The color has nothing to do with what move that they're doing, which is completely false. You see how dumb that sounds? Hakai energy is always associated with being purple, and they always say Hakai when they're doing it. Only time where it's different is if they don't say anything and they just destroy them. Which 9 times out of 10 in the series, they're going to say the attack and do it. It's consistently the same color throughout the series. Only time where it's a different color is if it's a different type of aura that they have, or it's just a different version of that move. The only times that they don't say the moves is if they're just being quiet and they do the move. And they're also going to argue that this isn't really Hakai because it's not complete existence erasure. There's still something left over. There's still ash or dust or whatever this is. Like I explained previously in the video, that after you erase something for existence, it releases an energy. You can make an educated assumption that this is the energy that's left over. And due to it not being an explosive version of Hakai, it leaves a calm sand effect. Not even to mention, sand completely disappears in the next panel. That was kind of hard to see with this one, but I'm going to show you another example with Granola. Yes, before you say anything, Granola does have Hakai because he says it right here. What was that technique that boulder just exploded? Meaning it's not a normal ki blast. And by proxy, Gas will also also have it because of his wish that he made after granola. And also on this panel, Goku says, does that mean he can use all of our techniques? And Vegeta says this is ridiculous. And we have another panel right here where Vegeta says that looked like destruction with gas. So we take a look at this panel where granola is standing, right, and where this man throws his boulder at granola, and granola starts to use a non-explosive version of Hakai, we can see that the ash or sand falls right next towards him. She goes off to saying that, what, is that some sort of magic trick? Again, indicating that this isn't a normal Ki Blast move. If you look right here below me, the sand is nowhere near granola. It just disappears. Look at this panel. The sand is still nowhere to be found in this whole area where the sand should have been, further proving that the sand disappears after it takes effect. So in conclusion, Goku can use Hakai. It's just imperfect, and people need to stop bringing this argument up and downplaying my boy Goku. Also, we have to think about it like this, right? This is the first time we ever seen Hakai in the manga, right? That would mean we can make an educated assumption that this version of Hakai is the one that Goku would have saw Beerus used at one point in time, not the other one, so he would try to copy that one as well. And if Goku didn't use Hakai on Fusamasu, why would he reference it after seeing Beerus use another version of Hakai as saying that, oh, Beerus' technique, huh? You see how that doesn't make sense? So yes, please stop downplaying Goku. Please. It's embarrassing. Goku can use Hakai, and we need to leave this notion and misconception that he can't in 2023.
Ah! When you have negative reading comprehension.
People take social media way, way too seriously, bro. You see the energy that I did with my video versus the energy he did with his, immediately coming out with an insult, which would be an appeal to emotion, by the way. I can tell that he didn't watch my whole video about Goku using Hakai at all. Nobody has. I have yet to see anybody use a counter argument to all my arguments that I did in my video. Let's just take a look at these comments here. He said that me asking 2 English college professors if my interpretation of this was correct is appeal to authority. The interpretation in question is when Goku said I kind of messed up when I tried copying it, right? Not only did he immediately think that I gave them misinformation, same thing with this guy, he thinks I took it out of context when I gave them the information to fit my own narrative, which why would I do that? I have no reason to do that. I also believe that you have to fluently speak and understand Japanese to figure out if it's a mistranslation or not. The translations that I did in my previous video were from 2 trusted sources, Deeply and Romaji Dasu, which are 2 of the most accurate Japanese translators. First, let's talk about what appeal to authority is, and then secondly, we're going to talk about the Japanese translation stuff. Let's look into the definition of what appeal to authority is. Appeal to authority fallacy occurs when someone claims that a statement is true simply because an authority says it is, without any other supporting evidence. Not all appeals to authority are fallacious. The fallacy rises when the authority is not generally qualified in the relevant field. And again, 2 English professors would be qualified to talk about that topic, because it's an English-related question about interpretation. Not everything is supposed to be taken hyper-literal. Everything is not black and white. What he said right here would be an example of appeal to authority, because he said, I'm a lawyer. The question in hand is not related to law at all. So you do need to understand English in some way in being a lawyer, but you don't understand it in a way that an English professor would. The man under him is going to say, I lack critical thinking skills, that I don't need to ask anyone. Why would I blindly believe what you say over a professional? Someone who could show proof that they know about their profession. Simply just using my resources. Now let's get into the Japanese translation stuff. Scans that are in question that are mistranslated, people use the base of their argument to say Goku doesn't have Hakai. This panel, and also this panel. Now, I'm using the storyboard version of this manga panel because the website to see the Japanese version of Dragon Ball Super is down. I had to find what I could. So to further prove that these were mistranslations, I went to somebody who knew Japanese. Happy. We're just breaking it with your inner spirit. To turn 1 into 0, when objects disappear, they release incredible energy. Like I said in my video previously, the kanji for move is not present, which people will like to say since it says move, it only means one version of Hakai. There's only one version. And it reads, what we use as destruction is to erase existence from this world. Here's the next translation. This explosion has the flavor of Hakai, destruction. It's irresistible, right? Nowhere does it say, oh, this is the highlight of Hakai. This is the real highlight. Your arguments for Hakai only being one version is invalid. Because like I said before, when they translate stuff into English, they do it to appease the Western audience. Because if you directly translate from Japanese to English, it's just going to sound like old, bland English. This. You're not going to want to read that. Obviously, they add things so that way it can appease to our new lingo. I thought would be common sense. Which is why a lot of countries think that English is so hard to speak. Because when other countries learn English, they learn it from an older perspective. Like old proper English.